What's good, everybody? Happy New Year's. This video is going to be actually a lot different than what I've been normally posting. I've been kind of posting like little tidbits about myself and stuff like that. And like I thought about it, like no one should really care. But I guess the first run of videos I'm doing is just to get comfortable with the camera in my face and the lights and trying to get over the fear of presentation. So, new year, new me, new goals, and let's get into it. I'm starting this brand new video series of just mastery or productivity, especially for artists. If we like to illustrate and stuff like that, and we would love to get better. And I know when I first started like drawing and stuff like that, and I kind of knew of the fundamentals, but I didn't know of all the fundamentals. I kind of knew what I had to learn, but I didn't understand the why of learning all these fundamentals, and just not having the time to just practice this stuff. But I came up with a strategy that works, and the amount of work that I was able to get done in a month, and I didn't even complete the entire practice in a month. In November, I tried drawing every day, but practicing my fundamentals and also practicing on the stuff that I suck at. I didn't even follow through for the full 30 days. I did about like 23 days out of 30, which is still pretty good. Like, count your blessings, you know, it's better than doing 5 pages or 5 practices in a day, in a month, and not really, you know, just come up really, really short. So the whole goal of the game is not to break the chain. And I love to start this year with some fundamental practices that we all could do that in some way will just make us a lot better than we were last year, so we can actually start producing better art. Because if you guys are tuned into this channel, that means you guys are trying to get better. And if you see me as a person that's really good, and you know, I like to back myself because we are our own worst critics, I'm not that great, but I love to come up with new ways and strategize on how I can get better. And I try to change my mindset when it comes to learning the fundamentals. So this video is going to be a breakdown of every fundamental thing that you can ever learn and how you can actually apply this and not have it take up that much time out of your day. So if you stick to the end of this video. Now that I'm editing this video, I realize how long this video is, especially showing every example. So I'm going to be making a part 2, so make sure you hit the subscribe and the notification button so you be noticed whenever I upload part 2 of this video. It breaks down everything super simple. So yeah, you're blessed, because I'm going to come up with a way how you guys can get better in a short amount of time. And the whole goal of this game is not to break the chain. You just got to do it every day. And you can just see it as a ritual, like a morning ritual or a bedtime ritual, whatever you like to draw. Like, before you start drawing, this is the first thing you got to do first. And all these exercises are not going to take up all that much time unless you wanted to. So let's start the video, I guess. Well, I'm going to give you guys the time to hit subscribe if you guys want to see more of this content while I just drink this protein shake. It's pretty good. I need to write down the recipe and like throw it up online.
Okay, first off, I'm sorry about the quality of the video. Hopefully you guys get to see the lines and or at least understand what I'm trying to convey here. That I normally start off as a warm-up just to draw straight lines, short, medium, very long lines, and I try to keep them close together, very tight, very neat. And I try to all that does is just helps with accuracy. And the second exercise I'm doing is just drawing straight lines through each other, and that also helps with accuracy, making sure that they all meet in the middle and creating a cohesive dot. Nothing too crazy. This third line exercise is accuracy building, of course, but you're drawing a dot across from each other and make sure you're connecting them. And I'm not perfect at this exercise. I'm not the greatest at a lot of these things, but I like to practice them right before drawing anything. Then after that, I just go into doing curves, drawing as many curves as possible, curvy lines, and again trying to keep them neat, tight, and follow the same arc. Now doing jagged lines, and it's all the same thing, just different ways how you can practice this. But my main go-to is always just simple straight lines, from small, medium to large. And this is just an example of how my pages normally look. Small lines, then my mediums and my large lines. And normally my large lines, I'll probably have them across the entire page and try to keep them very neat or tight. But it's something really hard. And moving on to the next exercise would be doing circles. I used to think I was able to draw circles very well until I started practicing this. I am actually pretty bad at it. But over time I've gotten better, and a lot of times I just kind of ghost them. Same thing with my ellipses. My ellipses always can use work. But the key thing in this exercise is just try to vary it up. Doesn't have to be very uniform. I'm just a very analytical person, so I like to have my stuff looking kind of neat. And I try to remind myself about that, and I break out of it and just go crazy with it sometimes. And these are just different ways how you can practice your ellipses, keeping them uniform, changing them in sizes. All very good, all very helpful. But I believe that you can spend 2 minutes doing this practice and you'll be fine. You don't have to spend like an hour or 30 minutes just practicing circles, lines, and ellipses. You know, these are just different examples on how you could practice them and build up accuracy, getting familiar with the muscle mechanics of drawing out these shapes and lines that all come in later in your work when you need to apply them. Use circles and ellipses to build objects sometimes. The straight lines are to help you with accuracy, especially if you're making horizon lines, buildings, what have you. Anything that you need to do a straight line for, just practicing these things will help you with that. And moving on to my favorite warm-up exercise is just writing really fast and scribbling, jotting down numbers. This is the easiest exercise that anyone can do as a warm-up. It's just to help your brain catch up with your hand. And I find this really useful as a warm-up. Sometimes I get really crazy with it. I'll write out entire sentences, like notes to myself or stuff I'm really happy about during the day, or something that I can't wait to do. Yeah, I write notes. I try to write numbers as fast as I can, and it's just easy. It's like I can go on autopilot and just try to write something as clear as possible while like just thinking about things on the go. So it's kind of like thinking while you draw or thinking as you write. You're just trying to get that brain connected with your hand, so it'd be easier for you to keep drawing, or easier to do anything with the pen as you're like not stopping to take any breaks to think something out. This is an exercise I don't do as often, but I wish I did a little bit more of, is guided lines, where you put up multiple points all over the page and make sure that they curve in with each other. You want a smooth curve, not like a stop and go type of line work or something really jagged. You want a smooth line all the way through, you know, like that. This is textures. I learned about textures reading Scott Robertson's book, How to Draw. Something I don't practice as often, but I try to rotate it in and out of my regimen. Just at least have a day or two out of the week while I just practice doing textures or practice doing certain other exercises that seem pretty out there, it's something that it's kind of hard to like just put your mind around. Like, damn, I gotta do this like all the time. But really, you're only spending like a few minutes on this. It's not anything crazy. I didn't spend like 3 hours making this entire texture grid or like examples. So that's just, it's just a thought about it, and just a mindset. It's just a mindset of how you want to approach all these things. And then my second video, I will show how you can get all these things done in the amount of time that you have, versus how you want to do it within a week or how you want to do it within a day. I kind of like broken down the my exercises to a point where like I can see a lot of change, a lot of growth, and I can track it. I can track everything at the end of the month. So stay tuned for the next video. And right now, everyone, this is something that everyone hates to do. I'm sure I didn't like it at first, but it's really understanding perspective, drawing boxes in a perspective plane, ranging from 1 point to 2 point to 3 point perspective. It'll help you when it comes to drawing objects or people in a 3D space. If you're tired of your art looking really flat and you don't understand why, it's probably about perspective. You have to have a clear understanding of how you should orient things in 3D space. And this is something that Peter Han and Kim Jung-gi talked about, and I feel like there is a correlation between those two. They can draw anything in a 3D environment and redraw it again and change the camera angles on it. It's because they have a full grasp on perspective, and I really think it really starts off with these boxes and cubes. If you know how to draw these boxes and cubes in a certain perspective, you're able to just draw anything else in a perspective. And up next is just practicing your basic geometric shapes. There's not that many of them. Just practice your basic 5. There's a great book that you can use to practice using. It's what's it called? Dynamic Sketching by Peter Han. It's one of his books that he had. That's a curation of all the notes he had during school from his teacher. Super great, super helpful on showing examples of how you show volume in objects. And that's basically what I did right here with the contour lines, just showing the volumes for objects. After you get down the basic shapes, I like to combine them into each other to make interesting forms. Sometimes I elaborate a little bit more on them and actually turn them into like buildings, robots, or anything tech-based or futuristic like. But other than that, it's a great way of just understanding how you can extrude some of these shapes or combining them into one object to make it look like another. So it's super helpful, especially when it comes to painting. And knowing this video is very long, I apologize. There's just so much to go through, and I am just really trying to convey everything so everyone can understand. Let me know how I did in the comment section below. Leave a like if you like this video, and yeah, turn on your notifications. I will have part 2 on how you can apply all these practices into in 1 hour or less. I know setting the basics are kind of tedious, but if we don't do them, we don't get better. So even this one is like just drawing boxes in perspective. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys have a goodie. Peace.
Peace.